What's going on, guys? Happy Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, alright. Yeah. Now, yeah, that was the fake clap. So now, I was talking to some of my Mexican friends up at work, and I was kind of saying, what exactly, we're doing Cinco de Mayo. I know what we're doing. We're just hanging out drinking beers, celebrating Mexico Day or whatever. But what they're saying is that it's really not a big thing in Mexico, which is kind of weird because it's bigger in America than in Mexico. What it is it celebrates the date of the Mexican Army's victory over France in the Battle of Puebla back in the day, 1862. You know, it's a relatively minor holiday in Mexico, and in the United States, basically what it is, it's a commemoration of Mexican culture and heritage. So basically, Americans drink a bunch of beer, Mexicans drink a bunch of beer, and hey, yay, Mexico, right? I mean, to me that is. If I'm wrong, leave a comment. If anybody Mexican, Hispanic descent, Spanish, whatever, put a comment in the description below and correct what I'm saying to you. But this is just what I hear and what I've known talking to my Mexican buddies. But anyway, happy Cinco de Mayo. Today we are going to do a triple header for you guys. Of course, what we're doing is Mexican beers. First off, we're going to hit the Corona, not the Corona Extra. This is a different one, Corona Familiar. Right? What the difference is, I don't know, but we're going to taste and find out. Then we're going to go round around to the Pacifico. I might have done this, can't remember if I did this one already, but we're going to, since we're doing the Mexican theme, we're going to do the Mexican beer. And then to finally coming around, we're going to do the Victoria. Victoria Cerveceria Modelo, Mexico. So first of all, I'm going to put these back in the fridge, and we're going to start with the Corona Familiar. Alright, so we are going to start out with the Corona Familiar. Now this is different from the Corona Extra, which I really doesn't do too much for me, but the Familiar, it's imported beer. It's made in Mexico. Imported beer from Mexico. It's brewed and bottled by Cerveceria Modelo, Nava, Mexico. Okay. Imported by Crown Imports. So, nice, interesting bottle. Doesn't really say anything about it. Doesn't have the, it does have the government warning there. You have to have it. It doesn't have the percentage of alcohol on the bottle that I can see. Let's see here. Hey Google, what's the percentage of alcohol in Corona Familiar?
4.8%. On the website grocery.walmart.com, they say, Corona Familiar contains 4.8% alcohol by volume.
Okay, so 4.8%, it's a little bit less than your full-bodied American beers like Budweiser. But same par, so we'll take a look, and I fully expect it to have the familiar taste of the Mexican beers, but let us see. Alright. Let's go with the pour. Very nice, very clear. You can see through the football mug. And if you like this football mug, I'll leave a link in the description below. It's a pretty cool mug, very nice. Libby, fantastic brand. But it's a clear, looks like a light beer, kind of, but like Google says, it's a 4.8%, so it's pretty strong there, comparing to like Budweiser being 5%. Bud Light, I think it's 3 or 4%. But I don't really drink the American light beers, just the full body. So looks nice. Let's go for the smell. Smells like a Mexican beer. And let's Kind of smells like Corona Extra, which I'm not a big fan of. I know you guys, a lot of you guys like the Corona Extra, but it doesn't really do nothing for me. But it has the distinctive Corona smell. I mean, what I mean by that is kind of like maybe a metallic-y, not really metallic-y, but kind of like reminds me of metal. We'll see. Yeah. Okay. So it's a good light beer. It's a good light beer. It's got the familiar Corona taste. You know, if you put a lime in there or something, it just tastes exactly like a Corona Extra, except for this has a nice, nutty, smooth aftertaste. Not fruity, nothing weird. It's just a good Mexican beer. I'm gonna say this is a good Mexican beer. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. I like this beer. I mean, I really do. I can drink this beer casually. If we're hanging out and stuff like that, I would definitely not have any hesitation drinking this beer. So, round one, Corona Familiar, thumbs up. You try it, you let me know what you think, okay? Corona Familiar, rock on. Corona Familiar. Hey Google, tell us about Corona Familiar.
Here's a fact I found on the web. What's the difference between Corona Familiar? On the website razsatic.com, they say, the Corona Extra tastes like a Corona, but the Familiar has a richer flavor. It is a much better beer. Both Coronas have the same color.
Okay, so according to an expert on the web, on the internet, the Corona Familiar is a richer beer than the Corona Extra. It tastes better. I would wholeheartedly agree with that statement. It does taste better, and it looks the same, smells the same, tastes kind of the same except for the smooth, richer flavor at the end. Yes, I totally agree that the Corona Familiar is a better beer, in my humble opinion, than the Corona Extra. You tell me, you guys tell me, let me know what you think, okay? Corona Familiar. I might do a video on Corona Familiar versus Corona Extra. Let me leave a comment in the box below. Let me know if that would be interesting to you. And maybe we do it together. I don't know. Anyways. It's good. It's good beer. I have to tell you. It's one of the smoother Mexican beers that I've tasted. I mean, I like the Tecate, I like the Dos Equis, I like the Modelo Especial and the Modelo Negro. I might have done one on Modelo. But yeah, Corona. You know, this will bring me back to liking Corona. This beer, because, you know, I mean, I said it a couple times. Corona Extra is like, yeah, whatever. Doesn't do nothing for me, but the Corona Familiar, I'm going to start drinking this every now and then. I'm gonna put it in the mix, right? I'll put it in the mix of beer drinking for the beer guy. Cool, Corona Familiar. I think that's all I got to say about that one. Alright guys, so next on the Mexican flight, we are in celebration of the Cinco de Mayo. We are going with the Victoria beer. Victoria. Cerveceria Modelo, Mexico. Made in Mexico. Hincho in Mexico. That's what that means. So to clarify a little bit about Cinco de Mayo, a lot of people, I polled the non-Mexican people in my where I work, and 9 out of 10 of those people think that Cinco de Mayo is the celebration of the Independence Day of Mexico, which is totally false. If you thought that, and I thought that as well, you would be incorrect. So what it really is, as I said before, is the Battle of Puebla. And so a little bit about the history. In 1861, Benito Juarez, a lawyer and member of the indigenous Zapotec tribe, was elected president of Mexico. At that time, the country was in financial ruin after years of internal strife, and the new president was forced to default on debt payments to European governments. So Mexico was in debt to some European governments like France, Britain, and Spain. So in response of the default of debt, they couldn't pay. So France, Britain, and Spain sent naval forces to Veracruz, Mexico, demanding repayment. They said, "Hey, you got to pay us." Mexico was like, "Hey, let's make a deal, man, guys. I mean, we'll pay you, but let's make a deal." Britain and Spain negotiated with Mexico and withdrew their forces. But France, however, ruled by Napoleon III, decided to use the opportunity to carve an empire out of Mexican territory. He was going to take over. Late in 1861, a well-armed French fleet stormed Veracruz, landing a large force of troops and driving President Juarez and his government into retreat. Okay, Napoleon III, he was certain that success would come swiftly. 6,000 French troops under General Charles Latreille de Lorenzes, I'm sure I said that wrong, sent out to attack Puebla de Los Angeles, a small town in east central Mexico. From his new headquarters in the north, Juarez rounded up a ragtag force of 2,000 loyal men. So 2 to 6, 1 to 3. It's a 3-to-1 fight. Juarez has the 2,000 men. The French troops has 6,000 men. So Juarez's troops were loyal. Many of them indigenous Mexicans or mixed ancestry, and sent them to Puebla. Right. So he's like, "My loyal troops, let's go to Puebla. Let's fight these French guys." Right. The vastly outnumbered, I mean, he was outnumbered 3-to-1, right? And poorly supplied Mexicans, led by Texas-born General Ignacio Zaragoza, fortified the town and prepared for the French assault. On May 5th, 1862, Lorenzes gathered his army, supported by heavy artillery, before the city of Puebla and led an assault. Okay, so that's a little bit of history. I know you guys are very interested in the history of Cinco de Mayo, but for right now, that was just a little bit of history, and we will drink the Victoria to the victorious Mexicans against the French. That's how they came up with the Victoria beer, because they became victorious. No, dude, I'm just kidding. That part's all fake and made up. Made in Mexico, Victoria Cerveza Modelo Mexico, once again. Brewed and bottled by Cerveceria Modelo. Same with the Corona Familiar. Let's see here. It does not say, once again, what the alcohol percentage is, but of course, we all know. Who can tell us? Of course, Google tells us. Hey, Google, what's the alcohol percentage of Victoria beer?
4%. On the website transitionsabroad.com, they say, "Victoria, this is a popular choice for those who want to drink a couple beers while keeping a clear head, as it's only 4% alcohol. It's surprisingly flavorful though, and is widely available in small and large returnable bottles."
Okay, so 4% beer, it's like a light beer, probably. Not as strong as the Budweiser and American domestic full-bodied beers. So we will take a look. So if you want to drink several of these during Cinco de Mayo, this is probably what you want to drink. So let us take a look. See, let's do the pour. Pour looks good. Actually, this beer looks looks a little bit heavier, right? I mean, it looks darker. Wouldn't necessarily say heavier. It's got a good head. It looks darker than the Coronas. Even the Corona Familiar is supposed to be a heavier beer, or a smoother, richer beer. I would say richer beer than the Corona Extra. Victoria here, it looks nice, nice and clear, nothing floating, nothing weird. Nice, good head. Let's have a smell. Ooh, that smells good. It smells like a full-bodied beer to me. I mean, nothing light about that, but the ultimate test, as we all know, is if we like the taste or not. So let us taste and salute the Mexicans, support the Mexicans led by Texas-born General Ignacio Zaragoza. Okay? The battle is about to begin, but for us, the beer drinking's about to begin. So, happy drink. Okay. Even though the beer color is a darker amber color, hold on, I was going to say it's a lighter flavor, but it is a lighter flavor, but it does have the aftertaste of the amber. Good flavor. I like this flavor. I like this beer. I'll tell you already, I like it. You know, Mexican beers, you can't really go too wrong. You know, I was kind of disappointed with the Corona Extra, not the Familiar. Familiar was good. But I like most Mexican beers. Living in Texas, you know, I guess I'm used to it maybe. I don't know. But I've been drinking them all my life, and I like them. But I would definitely recommend the Victoria. If you have not tried it, it's got a cool little label. Who that dude is, maybe that is the... It's got a coin or something on there, and it's got that king guy. Got another guy, 1900, something about 1900, so there's something significant about 1900. Got a king on here, so maybe the Mexican king, I don't know. And a coin. It says Republic Lou Française. Oh, so maybe the Mexican coins has some French stuff on it, or either that, or I don't know if you can read that or not, but it's got something about French. Française, a French, that looks, oh, that's Napoleon. Check that out, that's probably Napoleon, and that's probably his coin. I don't know. If you know, leave a comment below and you tell us, okay? But for right now, all I know is that this Victoria is a victoriously great tasting beer. That's good. Alright, so for the Victoria beer as well as the Corona Familiar, thumbs up, thumbs up. I'm giving this a thumbs up. Hey Google, can you tell us anything about the beer called Victoria?
According to Wikipedia, Victoria Bitter is a lager produced by Carlton and United Breweries, a subsidiary of Foster's Group in Melbourne, Victoria. It was first brewed by Thomas Aiken at Victoria Brewery in 1854 and is a Victorian beer.
Wrong Victoria beer. No, Google, you are incorrect. I am drinking the Mexican Victoria beer. Hey Google, can you tell us something about the Mexican beer called Victoria?
On the website laweekly.com, they say, Victoria is the perfect step up from all the similar tasting light Mexican lagers made by Grupo Modelo, think Tecate, Corona, Modelo Especial, Pacifico.
Okay, so what Google's saying is that Victoria beer is a step up from the other Mexican beers. So I am going to kind of, I mean, it is a step up from like Corona Extra, but to me, and you guys decide, but to me, Victoria is on the same playing field as like Modelo Especial, Tecate, Dos Equis, that kind of thing. I would say it's even keel, but what we're hearing is that it, according to some people, it's a step up from all of those. So you try it. I mean, I like it. I mean, it's good. You try it, and you guys let me know, let us all know in the comments below whether you like it or not, and I will enable the posts, if I can remember, on the website johnnythebeerguy.com, so that you guys can post your thoughts and let me know. Let us all know. Let's all have a discussion about what our favorite Mexican Cinco de Mayo beer is. I would gather to guess that most of you guys are drinking Corona Extra or American beers, but that you can branch out a little bit and drink the Mexican beers. Let's try some. I mean, all of us in Texas, I think, we're used to the Mexican beers, but you guys up north, tell me how where you're at. Leave a comment below where you're at, and we will see who is furthest up north drinking the Mexican beers. Peace out. Thumbs up to the Victoria beer. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you have not subscribed and you're watching this, please go ahead and subscribe. You get all these cool videos. Alright, so thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate it. And the next one up is the Pacifico. So stay tuned for the Pacifico. Go Victoria. Alright guys, what's going on? So the rounding out the final beer of the Cinco de Mayo series, we've got the Pacifico. Pacifico. I think I might have done this one before. Not real sure, but it's cool. It's Cerveza Pacifico Clara, La Cerveza del Pacifico. So that must mean the beer of the Pacific. I'm not sure. Brewed and bottled by Cervecería de Cuautla, Nava, Mexico. So definitely a Mexican beer. Brewed in Mexico, says right there on the bottle. Does not say the percentage of alcohol. Let's see here. Hey Google, what is the percentage of alcohol for Pacifico beer?
4.5%. According to Wikipedia, alcohol content 4.5%. Clara means clear, blonde, as opposed to oscura.
So clear. Clara means clear, so Pacifico clear. So it's a blonde beer, probably a lager maybe. Doesn't really say, so can't really determine, but I would guess. So 4.5, stronger than light beers, a little bit lighter than the full-bodied American beers. So back to our story of the Battle of Puebla, right? So the French army, 6,000 troops, right, have surrounded the small town, or the town of Puebla, fortified by the 2,000 troops of the Mexican guys, led by the General Ignacio Zaragoza. So Zaragoza's fortifying his army, getting ready for the French assault. The French have heavy artillery. They're bombarding Puebla. Of course, the French think, hey, we're going to beat these guys. We've outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned, everything, right? But the surprising end of this story, the battle lasted from daybreak to early evening. When the French finally retreated, they had lost 500 soldiers. Fewer than 100 Mexicans had been killed in the clash. So the Mexicans are outnumbered 3-1, but they killed more than 5-1. So that's good odds, right? So after was it 6,000? So that's 500 of the 6,000. So that's a big percentage of your army has been wiped out. He retreats. So it wasn't a major strategic win in the overall war against the French, but it represented a symbolic victory for the Mexican government and bolstered the resistance movement. So in 1867, thanks in part to military support and political pressure from the U.S., of course, that's why we celebrated too. It had a little part in there, which was finally in position to aid its besieged neighbor after the end of our Civil War. France finally withdrew. So, the same year, Austrian Archduke Ferdinand Maximilian, who had been installed as Emperor of Mexico in 1864 by Napoleon, was captured and executed by Juarez's forces. Pueblo de Los Angeles was renamed for General Zaragoza, who died of typhoid fever months after his triumphant historic victory there. So, there you have it, the history of the Battle of Puebla, the reason why we are drinking beer today. Cinco de Mayo, happy Cinco de Mayo, a symbolic victory over France, help with the US, from the U.S., our brothers down there in Mexico. So with no further ado, we are going to round out the Cinco de Mayo drink flight with the Pacifico Clara. Let's have a shot. I bet y'all didn't know y'all were going to have a history lesson, but it sounds pretty cool. I mean, I always wondered why we're doing Cinco de Mayo other than, hey, let's get together and drink a bunch of beers with the Mexican dudes, right? I mean, but anyway, it don't matter. Let's drink. That is definitely clear, hence the name Clara. Look at that, very clear. It looks like a light beer to me. Doesn't look like it has much depth to it. I would, just by looking at it, say that, what did we say, 4.5% alcohol? Okay, so maybe it looks like a lightish beer. I wouldn't, just by looking at it, I wouldn't say it's as rich or as flavorful as the Victoria, but you never know. Okay, so very clear beer. Can't really smell anything. I mean, I can smell a little bit. It smells like a kind of like a I mean, barely have the hint of beer. Okay. Excuse me. So the ultimate test is the taste test. That's the reason why we are all here. Let us taste the Pacifico Clara, the clear Pacific beer. How about that, huh? The beer of the Pacific, brewed in Mexico. I'd say that it is a light beer. It's got a good aftertaste, a good smoothness. It's got the nuttiness at the end that I expect from the Mexican beers. It's a good beer. I absolutely like this Pacifico beer. Nothing wrong with it. I would drink any of these beers. Corona Familiar, not extra. Corona Familiar, Victoria, and the Pacifico. Yeah. It's a good light beer. I mean, I'm hanging out, celebrating Cinco de Mayo. Maybe get some Mexican food. You know, I mean, all this drinking Mexican beer makes me in the mood for some enchiladas or tostadas or tacos or anything Mexican, right? Maybe some chile relleno, some empanadas. Empanadas, is that Mexican? I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna give this a thumbs up. Yeah, so out of all the three, I'm going to rank. It's kind of hard to rank because they kind of really, they taste similar. I mean, they're Mexican flavored beers, and they do taste very similar. But if I were to rank them, and you rank them too, okay, you get yourself, go to, I got these from Total Wine, and you can get these in individual beers, which is cool, from Total Wine. So you can taste. I mean, I would highly recommend, like I said before at the beginning, Total Wine is not a sponsor of this program, although it should be. But I would highly suggest going there because you can get individual beers and make your own 6-packs of individual beers, so you don't have to taste 6 of beer that you end up not liking. Although I would say that I like most beers, but actually tasting a lot, there are some that I don't like. I think I'm leaning toward, and this is very controversial to many sophisticated beer drinkers, I don't particularly like IPAs, right? I mean, they're too strong for me, too fruity, flavorful, whatever you want to call it. It's just not my thing. So the idea of being able to buy individual beers, and they're a little more expensive. I think these were like $1.50 or $1.99 or something like that. And you know, for a 6-pack, you can get 6-pack for what, $7-8, but you know, you spend what? If they're $2, right? 2 times $12 for a 6-pack, but you can try different ones. That's the whole trade-off, right? But okay, back to putting them in order. I'd go with the Victoria, Corona Familiar, round it out with the Pacifico. So that's my order. Victoria, number 1, Corona Familiar, and Pacifico. Now you try them. You tell me in the comments or on the website what is your order of favorite Cinco de Mayo beers. As always, thank you very much for hanging out and drinking some beers with me. I really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure and an honor to hang out with you guys. Please leave me a comment. Please subscribe if you haven't already. You get these awesome videos, and if you hit the bell notification, you get notified of when they come out. So we shall drink together. Hit the bell notification, leave me a comment, subscribe, and thank you. And as always, happy drinking. Peace. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody.